What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. We are about pretty much exactly 2 days away from the full reveal for EA Sports College Football 25. That's right, we've waited 11 years for this, and it's finally here. I'm super excited, and I'm a little late to this trend, but I'm going to do it right now. Here are my top 25, my wish list, my big wish list for EA Sports College Football 25. And these are the top 25 things I want to see in the game. So we're just going to get things started at number 25 with team captains. Something we haven't been able to do in the past games is name our team's team captain. It's just a random guy going out there and you're like, wait a minute, who is he? That's something I'd like to see in the game, be able to name our team captain. If it's the 6th year, 5th year senior who's been on the team for forever, he's a veteran, you could choose him. You could choose the up-and-coming superstar that's maybe a sophomore, but he's just overwhelmingly the best player on the team. I feel like this would be a feature that they could definitely implement into the game pretty easily. Next up, I've got something that Madden is just now starting to get right, and that is just more accessories and drip. I'd love to see my player in Road to Glory rocking his shirt rolled up, showing off a super cool back plate, maybe even with a mouth guard hanging off the front of the helmet. I would just like to have a ton of customization when it comes to accessories and really making your player yours. Next up, I got helmet stickers. Helmet stickers should definitely be in the game. All the teams that have them in real life should have a helmet sticker reward system. Like you think Ohio State, Florida State, Michigan, all those teams should have that implemented into the game. And if my 99 overall, 99 speed wide receiver doesn't have like an absolute ton of stickers on the helmet, it's just going to feel a little bit off, a lot more off than it would feel if they just did this small thing with the helmet stickers. It's another small thing, that's why it's so low, but boy would it make a difference. Leading into that, smaller things, next up at number 22, I want to be able to in some way customize my team's uniforms. I don't mean change their logos or change their team colors entirely. I just mean maybe change up a few patterns or fonts or something that could really, for team builder, that you could keep fresh, and just another small thing that they could add that would make the game feel even more fun than it already is. Or maybe if you wanted to, you could set your logo to a past logo that your team has had. This is another thing that's very small. You know, in these lower numbers, it's just small little things that I wouldn't be heartbroken if they aren't in the game, but they would just make the game that much better if they were. If I'm playing as a team and I just kind of want to rock with the retro logo, if I could do that, that would really put the game up and beyond in just such a small way. And I really think that that's something they should implement into the game because it's something really easy and something that they could definitely do. Next up, I've got something at number 20, which for most people is higher up on this list. I know a lot of people want this feature really bad, and that's the ability to hire your own personnel. In past games, the game has just kind of done it for you, and though the coaching carousel is interesting and fun to follow in those games, you feel like you have absolutely no control over it. And in order for it to be a good game, the player needs to feel like they have control over pretty much everything. And one of those things would be to hire and maybe even fire your own offensive and defensive coordinators. They could go into positional coaches, but I highly doubt they will. And that's something that I left out of my wish list for now. At number 19, I've got custom conferences. Now, this is something that has been the last few games for a while now, and it's something that a lot of people have been playing with more recently with all of the crazy conference realignment. But one of the things that I found kind of annoying was that each conference has a limit of 16 teams and a minimum of 4 teams. I say the new game, because of all the crazy realignment and conferences possibly going over 20 teams soon, they should scrap those restrictions and just have, if I want to create a conference of 32 teams and just make it the NFL college football, I can. At number 18, I've got the Heisman presentation. Again, like in these lower ranked things, nothing crazy, just like a picture of the player who won it with the trophy. In past games, it's just been just a very boring picture and then the 5 names. Maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a small cinematic little cutscene, but nothing super crazy. I would want them to flesh that out a little more in Road to Glory. If your player wins the Heisman, make it a little RPG-like. You could maybe make a little speech, like choose a few little things you could say, people you could thank, something to make that Road to Glory a little more yours. That's definitely kind of why I have this in the top 25 things I want. Next up, I want Stadium Builder. Everybody has wanted Stadium Builder in NCAA for a long time because the feeling of creating a team with like a 10,000 seat stadium that's pretty much a high school, horrible 1-star prestige school, and then going on 10 years down the line, you've won 5 straight national championships and you're still playing in front of 10,000 fans. It's, again, like definitely a quality of gameplay thing, just something to keep the player coming back and keep playing seasons, something that would make the gameplay less dry, to have the ability to upgrade your stadium as you upgrade your team. At number 16, I've got downloadable recruiting classes. One thing that keeps a lot of people coming back at the second half of the off season in Madden is the downloadable draft classes that you can get some of those draft classes a few years down the line. I think, 2 or 3 years down the line, and make the gameplay a little more realistic with those real players going a little further into your dynasty. Well, that's exactly what it would do for EA Sports College Football, is if you could download a recruiting class of players, maybe just the 2024 class, top 100 players. Those real recruit names would make the game feel a lot more realistic. There are a lot of things that are better than looking at numbers on a screen, and that is what spring games would do for position battles. I would love to watch my 295 overall quarterbacks going at it in my 6th year of my dynasty, trying to make the hardest decision of my coaching career in a spring game, instead of just looking at some numbers on a screen. This is a kind of quick one, but it's something that would be really fun. Another game you could maybe play or just watch from the sideline, maybe just have a little highlight reel play for you. Sticking with this big time theme of realism, I've got realistic player declaration at number 14. In the last NCAA, it was just really not realistic how players declared. You would have a junior quarterback win the Heisman, and then he wouldn't even try to declare for the draft. And even when, on the off chance that he would, you could just promise him he wouldn't regret getting a college degree, and he would immediately come back. I mean, sometimes if you're in like your 10th year of the dynasty and you've got 395 overalls behind him, you would just let him go just to feel like it's more realistic. But now I think there should be players that they're like 99 overall sophomore red shirts or juniors, and they just refuse to even negotiate coming back because they know they're going pro. I'm going to keep this next one short, but it is really important, and that is, I liked what they were doing with impact players. They're so much better than what Madden does right now with X Factors. Bring back impact players, please. Don't have college football players with X Factors. That would just feel really weird, and it would feel exactly like Madden, which, if you keep watching, is not what I'm going for. These next 3 all go together, and these are my main priorities for Road to Glory mode. So for all you Road to Glory fans, listen up, because this is what I want out of this game. First things first, I definitely want a little more story mode in RTG. Kind of get that RTG, RPG, a little more role play, a little more decision making, just a little more story, not something stupid like what Madden does, something new, something fresh, something unique to NCAA football. Next up, obviously, the ability to transfer in your Road to Glory. The times have changed far too much for this not to be something you can do. It just has to be in the game. And if it's not, honestly, I might not even play Road to Glory. Then, last, come on, National Signing Day, I want to be able to be at the desk, and I want to be able to do a hat trick. I want to be able to pick what hat I want. I want to be able to fake the crowd out. All those small things just make it a lot more personal, a lot more of a role-playing game along with a Road to Glory. Next up, I got the betting odds and the spread. I want to see how likely I am to win a game without just looking at the team's overalls. I want to see like ESPN FPI. I want to be looking at the ticker down there and see rank 1 Alabama favored by 25 points against some middling SEC team. I want to be able to see that, and this kind of ties into something I'm going further on, but maybe even there could be some sort of interaction where you could like pick the winner of certain games, and it would give you like little small like XP boosts if you got every single one of them right, or if you got the game of the week pick correct, or something like that. I really want the betting odds and the spread to be a part of the game. At number 8, just make signing day more fun. In the past, it's just been one part of the offseason you spend about 8 seconds on. You throw an absolute ton of points into that one guy you're still going after, and then he either commits to your school or he doesn't. I really want to be able, like especially in Online Dynasty, this is more towards Online Dynasty. This is what I want most out of Online Dynasty mode, is to be, if me and my friends, we got 3 of us and we're all going after one big time 5-star recruit, if we could all watch like a crazy cutscene of his commitment where he pulls off a hat trick or he fakes out the crowd, that would be the coolest thing ever, and that would really make the game from a off-season standpoint. But from a regular season standpoint, I don't know if anything would make me happier than to have different, modern, and real score bugs in the game while I'm playing. I want to have the ESPN one, and I want to have the CBS one, even Fox, like theirs isn't horrible, and maybe even some of the older ones, like the square one that was in the bottom right corner during the mid-2010s. That's one of my favorite score bugs of all time. And if they were able to sign some deals and get them to match up, like I know that Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit are in the game. If you can match up the score bugs with the correct crew that is broadcasting the game, that would absolutely make the gameplay for me. I'm a big fan of scoreboards, and I think they're a big part of college football. Bigger part of college football than pretty much any other sport because of the value of the rankings, and the logos are so much cleaner. Everything about it would just help the game so much. At number 6, I've got rushing the field. Don't tell me after beating a top 10 team for the first time in your team builder school's history, you wouldn't be absolutely ecstatic if you got into a cutscene of every fan in the entire stadium just storming onto the field after such a big win for program history. You just beat your rival for the first time in so many years in second overtime, and your team decides to storm the field, and it plays a little like 8-second cutscene. That would be the awesomest thing ever, and that would be one of the biggest and best additions to gameplay in the game, I think, at least. These next 2 are my biggest priorities for recruiting, but I'm going to talk about them a little separately because they include both recruiting and the transfer portal. First things first, there's got to be some sort of recruiting sliders. There's been a ton of arguing about whether people prefer the point system like there was in 14 or the call and conversation system like there was in 13 and 12. I like both. I'm more used to the point system, which kind of basically by default means I enjoy it more. But I've come to a conclusion that I would prefer the point system for recruiting, and of course I would much rather prefer the call and visit and conversation system for the transfer portal, because that's what the transfer portal is. You're not throwing points at a guy to get him to come to your school. Really, at that point, he's transferring to his best situation possible. And another thing is NIL. I don't know how they'll include that. I'm really interested to see that. Another thing is there are a lot of websites that do the recruiting rankings very well. There's got to be some different rankings of recruits. You can maybe see like recruiting classes, next year's recruiting class. If you're recruiting in 2025, you can look at 2026's class and see what players are on an uprising and what players are kind of falling down. They could just partner with 24/7 Sports for that. I feel like that's something they could do, and that's something that would make the game really good because 24/7 Sports is really good with that. At number 3, this has just recently been confirmed, but I got Team Builder. Just bring it back. Team Builder is so fun. Let us be able to upload our own logos, create them wherever we want, and then upload and make our team, make some cool uniforms. Again, there was a Team Builder share where you could download someone else's team. You could bring that back. Have just like a partner app for Team Builder. It could also like double as maybe like a chat app for like online dynasty. There are a lot of things EA could do with that. I'm super excited to see how it goes. I'm just so excited they brought it back, and really, really stoked to see some new teams in the game. At number 2, another thing that's been confirmed, but very vaguely, we don't know really. We know they're going to be in the game, but we don't know how, and that's College Game Day. And I love College Game Day. I'm a huge fan. Some things I would love to see in the game is if College Game Day comes to your town, your stadium for a game, you could be the guest picker. Again, maybe get some extra XP if you pick the games right. And again, for that game, if College Game Day is in town for your game, whatever mascot head Lee Corso puts on could be maybe just the team gets like a +1 overall boost, or something really small, but something just a little enough for it to make a fun difference of some sort. And at number 1, of course, what else would it be? Please don't make it like Madden. I hope EA has heard this. I know they've heard the Madden reskin, the anything but Madden engine, the Frostbite engine stinks, the tackling is horrible. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but if it is, it's going to be a massive, massive issue with the community, and nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to buy it because it'll just be Madden with college teams. That's not why we play NCAA. That's not even why we would play Madden. If we wanted that, we would just get Madden with college teams. We have that. We need a new game. We need an NCAA game. And I think they're going to do a really good job at that. I believe in them. And at this point, if you've made it all the way, let me know in the comments down below what you want from NCAA 25. EA Sports College Football 25. 2 days until the release date and all that, the trailer, the full reveal in 2 days. You got 2 days to let me know in the comment section down below what you want to see out of this game and what your biggest worries and what your biggest wants and needs are for this new football game. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. I've got a whole podcast on this channel that you guys can stick around and listen to.